All right, my friends, welcome back to another episode of Building on an Island. We're already up to episode 8, and today is one of my favorite topics. We're talking plumbing and waterproofing exterior decks. My buddy Wade Tennant, who works for Legend, is on site with Wade, and he's going to be talking about their HyperPure piping, some very interesting kind of different flavor of PEX that I didn't know much about until I met Wade. And also they're going to be talking about SmartClick, a fitting system from these guys that has some real advantages, and really the only tool you need on install is a pipe cutter. Pretty awesome. Next up on the waterproofing, you're going to learn a couple things from Wade on this exterior deck waterproofing. This is a really great episode. I'm super excited to be this far along in the series. We've got a couple more episodes to go, but here we go. Episode 8, Building on an Island. Let's get going.
The Building on an Island series is sponsored by Andersen Windows and Doors, the Unicare System, Key Link Fencing and Railing, and Legend.
Today I'm out on island, out at the build site, checking in on progress, which has been steady. We've got our HVAC team on the inside, wrapping up some loose ends on the HVAC rough inside of things. Our plumbing team is on site as well, in the home stretch of getting our water piping completed. And we're actually using a new product to them. It's new to us by Legend Valve and their innovative SmartClick system. So we'll be taking a close look at that. Outside, we've got our carpentry team continuing to get some decking down. We've completed 3 balcony decks, and now they're working on the large lower deck. And I'm going to show you a little tip that's going to provide longevity to a balcony deck. And we'll go inside and we'll meet with Wade Tennant of Legend Valve and look at their HyperPure and SmartClick system. But before I do that, a little update on the project. We're still in the winter months, and it's been just as expected. New England weather, we're used to it. We've had a lot of storms, we've had a lot of delays in getting material out to the island. The ferry schedules are basically reduced. The availability to get out here on the ferry, I should say, and the plane, their schedules has been significantly reduced from their peak season schedules. So that always provides a challenge. We're still dealing with supply chain issues. And a great example of that is we've had the exterior of this house ready for our cedar shakes to be installed for a couple months now, probably almost 3 months. But the particular shingle that our client picked out is just not available. So we're still waiting for that. So that's holding us up on getting the cedar shingle shakes installed here on the project. We've also brought on an interior designer. This is something that we were trying to get involved in the beginning of the project. The client has now finally brought on an interior designer, which is great for us. However, it's going to take the designer to get a little bit of time to get caught up on the project. And an example of that is typically right now with the HVAC, plumbing, rough-ins being almost complete, we'd be nearing completion on our electrical rough-in as well. That hasn't even started yet because the interior designer is working with our client and our team on tweaking some of the stuff inside, kitchen layout, cabinetry, and therefore that's holding up our lighting plan design and the specifications for, say, a recessed light fixture. So that's in progress. So on the interior, we've slowed down a little bit because of that, but we expect to pick up that pace and make up for some of that ground here as we get the designer caught up. So let me bring you inside and show you a great tip for providing longevity to a balcony deck. So I'm up on the main balcony deck now, and I say it's a main balcony deck because we do have a reverse layout here. That means that the living space is on the top floor here, and the reason for that is simply to take in all these amazing ocean views in just about every direction. So this deck will be getting a lot of use by our clients and their friends for entertaining and just simply relaxing. So what's going on here? We've got some 5/4 by 6 epay deck that's attached to what's called a floating sleeper system. So below this, the substructure of this is essentially pressure-treated joists sheathed with Advantech subfloor, and then over the top of that, it gets this EPD rubber membrane. That's our waterproofing system. So any water that gets through these deck boards is not going to go through and down to the deck below. It's going to get pitched this way, go through a scupper, into a gutter, down the downspout, and get out and away from the house. So when you do a deck like this, you can't attach the sleepers to the membrane because we don't want to puncture the membrane, and that takes away from the whole purpose of keeping it waterproof. So essentially, everything you see here is floating. It's not attached to the actual substructure or the house or anything like that. It's just deck boards attached to the sleepers. And what we want to do is maintain longevity of the sleeper system. And one thing we like to do is use these EPDM walk pads, and we'll glue these down in the location of where the sleeper joists are going. So when this goes down on the EPDM rubber membrane, this provides the sleeper, the pressure-treated joist, to sit on top of this and not directly on the rubber membrane. What that's going to do, because this is about 3/8 thick in total, is provide spacing between the sleeper and the rubber membrane below. So essentially it's keeping the sleeper out of the water, and if we keep things out of the water, it's going to provide longevity for this deck system. And then on the top side of this, we're using G-tape on top of the joists, so when we fasten the deck boards to the top of the joist, that screw is going to self-seal around the tape and prevent water from getting into the top of the joist. So we're really approaching this from two sides, right? The bottom of the sleeper and the top of the sleeper. It's water management. If we can keep that sleeper dry, it will survive. So let's head inside and see if we can find Steve Antok, our plumber, and see how he's making out. Hey Steve.
Hey Wade.
How you doing?
Good, how you doing today?
Good. Working on some pipe insulation?
Yeah, just wrapping this up a little bit. Final touches on the rough end for the water. So
How you making out? You might be wrapping up today? Or?
Yeah, that's our hope.
Good.
We'll be close, very
Good.
close.
Good to hear. Now we're using a new product to both of us here on this project, right?
Yes, that's correct. We're using HyperPure pipe, and we're using the SmartClick fittings. You can see up top here.
Yeah.
By Legend Valve.
Yeah. And the guys have been saying on your crew that it's been really easy to install.
Yeah, it's actually been pretty nice.
Good.
It goes together easy, and really haven't had any complaints on it.
Good.
So.
Well, I'll let you get back to it. I'm gonna head over to the master and check in with Wade.
All right, that sounds good.
Thanks, buddy.
Good to see you.
Hey, Wade, how's it looking?
Oh, hey, it's looking great. Listen, your plumbers are doing a fantastic job installing HyperPure and SmartClick system. I'm just taking a look at the retention wedge on the drop your elbow.
I'm glad Steve would be pleased to hear that. So, so you're with Legend Valve, right? You're the director of marketing out here on Block Island for first time.
Yes.
And we're using your products for our first time. HyperPure, SmartClick. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Legend Valve and the two products we're using here on the job?
Okay, yeah, you bet. So Legend Valve's been in business for about 34 years. We first started out offering a unique ball valve system to the marketplace. We've added fittings over time, and of course when you have valves and fittings, you need pipe to tie them together. Sure. We didn't have pipe to tie them together, but about a decade ago, started rationalizing, okay, how are we going to enter the pipe market considering there's so many other players out there today? We decided to work with Dow on the HyperTherm polyethylene raised temperature resin, which is basically a next generation modern resin similar to PEX. What's different about HyperPure is basically that it is 100% pure, right? It's not cross-linked, so it gets its strength from the actual resin design, which is a long chain bimodal resin, versus being chemically treated to strengthen up. That's the pure side coming out of it, right? And of course, we believe in this pipe so strongly that we put a 100-year warranty against it.
Wow.
In terms of our other products, hey, look, we're looking at SmartClick, and that's a really good fit for this job site. It is designed for new construction, right? Well, what does that mean? Well, it's easy and quick to install. In fact, it's about 35% faster to install than other fitting systems today.
Wow, that's fast.
Which is very fast, yes. It also offers an array of verification, right? That's the most important part, is the three-way verification it offers. So I can show you basically, so there's a SmartClick coupling, it's already installed on the one side. What do you need? What's unique about this, before I go into the verification, is basically that all you need is a tube cutter. Right?
Yep, so one tool, that's all we need.
You don't need some fancy, super expensive tool to actually do your plumbing system. You just need a cutter, a good cutter at that. So in turn, the three-way verification system. So you can see there's a retention wedge in there that separates the steel spring, right?
Got that red line there?
That little red tab in there, correct? And then what you do is you push this in. When you push that in, it releases the retention ring. The spring steel clamps against the tube, and you have a valid system. Now, the three-way verification starts with you can feel the vibration when it happens, so you're pushing it in, wedge pops out, you can see that wedge floating around in there, that's how you know the verification of the system is complete, and of course you hear the
click.
The smart click.
Yeah.
That's it.
So there's your three verifications. Touch it, you can feel it, you can see it, and then of course the audible side of it, you hear the click.
Absolutely, yep, that's the three-way system, right?
Slick.
And as I indicated to you, because of the way this system's designed, again, it's a 35% faster to install because all you need is a tube cutter. You don't need to be getting up and down a ladder. You can get into joist spaces on a much tighter bandwidth with this. You can get up in there and you can actually hear that click versus having to try and get up into those small and tight nooks and crannies. Yeah, this is the system for new construction.
So that's really kind of maybe one of the more important parts of the fitting system with the SmartClick is that ease of installation and the speed that goes along with it on the install, right?
You bet, right. And it's, basically it's a low cost approach to the marketplace where you don't have to have investment in all those tools for getting a job done.
Right. Now, with some of the other fittings that are on the market with the PEX piping and so forth, there's a release tool that's provided in case I need to back the pipe out. If I needed to take that pipe out of the SmartClick system, can we do that, or
the answer is no? This is a permanent fitting system. So once that spring steel clamps around the pipe, you got to cut that fitting out. Right? It's only good for that. But what it does is it gives you confidence that that is an installed fitting, and it's not going to leak. Right.
It's done. It's permanent.
Right.
It's
everything behind the wall. That's what Legend is known for.
Right. And can you use the SmartClick system with PEX piping?
You absolutely can. That's a great question, Wade. So basically, SmartClick itself, minus HyperPure, can be used on any PEX pipe in the marketplace, right? Obviously, we'd like you to use it with HyperPure, but it's compatible with all PEX piping.
Yeah, cool. Well, I got to say, just visually looking at SmartClick system, it looks innovative. It looks modern, and it just looks really cool. So in terms of presentation, it's just a really sharp looking product.
It is definitely a cool fitting look and feel, but it actually works. And it's thus very high quality, well engineered.
Yeah, cool. Well, I appreciate you coming out to the island, checking out the job site. We've got a plane to catch. You want to grab a bite to eat before we head off island?
That sounds fantastic.
All right, let's
Looking
do
forward
it.
to it.